What's up, comrades? Electronic nicotine delivery methods, or simply vapes, have become a real Trojan horse in the world of smoking in recent years. Once positioned as a safe alternative to regular smoking, they have begun to send people to hospitals more often than old-school MMA promotions. Reading news headlines that mention the consequences of vape pens make hair stand on end even on your balls. Bursted lungs, babies in coma, black liquid oozing from the nose and mouth, and what does have popcorn to do with it? This and much more is what our story is about today. Stay tuned. By the end of the 50s, scientists and doctors has already found a whole list of diseases directly related to smoking, headed by lung cancer, and people were racking their brains over alternative ways of smoking. I will not fill your head with a bunch of information now, like a history teacher in a boring lesson. I will only say that an electronic cigarette, like an electric car on a battery, is not an invention of the 21st century, as it may seem at first glance. The first archaic prototypes and patents for them appeared back in the distant 20s of the 20th century, but in its modern form they appear thanks to this guy. Meet Hon Lik. He is a Chinese pharmacist. In the early 2000s, trying to reduce the harm from nicotine, he proposed a method of delivering it without the toxic combustion products. Since 2004, mass production of electronic cigarettes, better known to us as vapes, began. The idea was simple: instead of tobacco, an aerosol liquid, also known as vape juice, which was converted into steam thanks to a heating element in the form of a coil powered by an electric battery. E-cigarette manufacturers cleverly formed their advertising at the beginning of the vaping epidemic. They positioned their products as a less harmful alternative to traditional cigarettes, thereby removing the sticking points for most buyers before buying tobacco products. Attention was focused on that fact that vape use juice, not tobacco, and the vape produces steam, not smoke like regular cigs. Just think about it. You can still blow smoke like a cool dude, but now without harm to health. This is just the deal of the century. The formation of public opinion about the new product on the market was also facilitated by scientific research conducted at that time. They also claimed that vaping was less harmful and was excellent alternative to tobacco products. The rest is boring. Vape was warmly received and gained popularity from hipsters on the street to celebrities on stage and other standard hype shit. It is much more interesting to note two things. The first is that young people under 24 become especially addicted to it, thereby becoming the main consumer. The second is that the aforementioned teenagers become to perceive e-cigs not only as an intermediate stage on the way to completely quitting smoking, but also as a fashion accessory, making it part of youth culture. If before some teens could be still scared off by scary stories about lung cancer and other crap, now such a question does not arise in principle, since it is supposedly safe. Unfortunately for them, some recent events indicate that they were wrong to believe in these fairy tales about the safety of vaping and its minimal impact on health. News headlines over the past year sometimes look like a plot of a horror flick about hospital. So, in Britain, vape caused the collapse of the lung of a 32-year-old athlete. Being a remote worker, he smoked 4 or 5 disposable vapes a week in his spare time. Despite regular exercises in the gym and good health, due to the bad habit, the outer layer of his lung thin, causing a bubble to form on the outside, which then popped and caused the organ to deflate like a balloon. The guy underwent a difficult operation, but doctors managed to save him. Another one case, also from Britain. There, a 17-year-old Zoomer girl's lung bursted. Since the age of 15, the silly became addicted to vaping, as she also fell for the fairy tales about its safety. In a week, she completely smoked a vape for 4,000 puffs, which is equivalent to 400 cigarettes. As a result of the burst of the pulmonary bladder, surgeons had to remove the part of the lung. Well, at least this one had part removed, unlike another Briton who have to remove an entire lung. A 21-year-old hard worker smoked a vape to perk up during night shifts, which ended in bilateral pneumonia, the formation of an infection with pus, and a lung burst. To save him, doctors had to put him in coma for 2 weeks and completely remove one lung. But that's not the worst part. Meanwhile, overseas, one crazy lady literally lived with vape for 3 years. She ate, slept, and even took a shower with vape, damn it. Despite her worsening cough, increasingly heavy breathing, and loss of voice, she continued to blow money on vaping. One day, her boyfriend found her unconscious, with black liquid flowing from her nose and mouth. During surgery, doctors put her in coma for 11 days and pumped 2 liters of black liquid out of her lungs. Disgusting. And it's okay when the geniuses themselves suffer because of idiotic actions, but when strangers, and especially kids, suffer, that's a total clusterfuck. In the town of Kurovskaya, not far from Moscow, a 10-month-old baby inhaled vape fumes from parents who smoked in his presence and ended up in the hospital with inhalation poisoning and convulsive syndrome. According to the latest data, his condition is assessed as moderate. Let's hope the baby is on the mend. There are actually different reasons why electronic cigarettes cause such harm, but in the context of the video, I would like to touch on the composition. The thermal decomposition of propylene glycol and glycerin, which are the basis of safe smoking, leads to release of acrolein and formaldehyde, which have toxic properties. For those out of the loop, acrolein irritates the mucous membrane and also exhibits mutagenic properties. And formaldehyde is a substance that, when mixed with water methanol, turns into formalin, a product for processing corpses in morgues. As a component of vape juice, it produces carcinogens that can negatively affect the central nervous system, cause lung cancer and cardiovascular diseases. Another substance of no less interest is the chemical diacetyl, which in turn can be the cause of the so-called popcorn lung, or scientifically EVALI. The name of the disease is associated with the characteristic sound of the lungs when listening, reminiscent of the cracking of popcorn. Obliterating bronchiolitis was first diagnosed in workers at popcorn factories in the early 2000s. The cause of the disease was diacetyl, a flavoring agent that is safe to eat but dangerous when inhaled. In vape juice, it is used to create different flavors. In 2019, the first case of the disease was registered in Canada, and recently an outbreak of this disease was recorded in Tomsk, the Russian Federation. When heated, this substance can turn into aerosol that is inhaled by the vapor and can damage lung tissue. Due to constant vaping, the cleaner cells in the lung become clogged with toxins and can no longer cope with their job. This causes tissue inflammation and a failure of gas exchange in the alveoli. As a result, shortness of breath, fever, chest pain, weakness, nausea and vomiting. In severe cases, chronic breathing problems or death. To date, there is no effective treatment for popcorn lung. Doctors can do the most to contain the inflammation or transplant the lung. At the same time, unlike tobacco, which has been smoked for hundreds of years, science has yet to learn the unexpected benefits of using vaping. Right now, scientists are observing how e-cigs can lead to problems with the development and destruction of the lungs, due to, for example, the same disease COPD, which, moreover, has no cure. To sum it up, we can definitely say that from the very beginning, the story with the vape turned out to be a total scam. Thanks to fairy tales about safety, supported by erroneous scientific research, cunning marketers managed to pull the wool over the eyes of the consumer and get them hooked on vape pens. But the most unpleasant thing in this whole story is that it was primarily the young generation with their still immature minds that were hooked, among whom there are mainly teenagers and kids. They are the ones who will now poison their health from an early age and will also pass this bad habit on to the future generations. The thirst to try the forbidden fruit and the herd mentality did their job. I would like to give a recommendation to the young viewers of this channel. If you have never smoked in your life and someone from your homies offers you to take a puff, arguing, "Come on bro, it's cool, it's not harmful," then follow the advice of Pablo Escobar.
If anybody offers you this stuff, you just say no.
If you already vape, then find the character and willpower to quit this crap before you become the main character of one of the above-mentioned news headlines. I am not a doctor or a scientist, but I can say for sure that a product containing formaldehyde will definitely not lead to anything good. That's all. Like and subscribe so you don't miss a new video. See you soon, comrades.
Breathe air. You don't need a vape.